Welcome to Leadership Rediscovered. I'm your host, Laura Siebold. Today, I am so thrilled to be joined by Dr. W. Constinia Charbonnette, who built her career on transforming bold ideas into reality. She leverages her diverse set of professional and personal experiences to maximize the potential of any project or individual she works with. Most importantly, she uses her creativity, ability to build authentic relationships, and strategically connect folks together to move the needle of success. She currently serves as the Director of Strategic Initiatives for the WVU School of Public Health and is also an Assistant Professor in the Department of Health Policy, Management, and Leadership. In July 2020, Dr. Charbonnette was named the Director of the WVU Women's Leadership Initiative, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. Prior to joining the School of Public Health, she served as the Assistant Dean of Graduate Programs in the John Chambers College of Business and Economics, the Director of Graduate Student Funding and Success in the WVU Office of Graduate Education and Life, the Assistant Dean of Student Life at Washington and Jefferson College, and the Director of Workforce Development and Outreach for At-Risk Youth at the Wheeling, West Virginia site of the Hope Community Development Corporation. Over the past decade at WVU, she led the development of the WVU Women's Leadership Foundation Fund and produced the WLI 10-year anniversary mini-documentary, co-led the development of the Healthcare MBA program for the College of Business along with Dr. Liz Vitullo and the Graduate Associate Dean of the college, created and led the fundraising efforts for the Dr. Robert E. Stitzel Emergency Fund for graduate students, developed the Graduate Student Satisfaction Survey to make data-driven decisions based on real-life student experiences, created the blueprint for WVU's holistic graduate professional development programming. And her key contributions in this area includes the development of programming that focused on students' personal financial management, professional development for PhD students who may go into non-academic careers, and WVU's Graduate Student Appreciation Week. And she led the major transformation and modernization of WVU's Graduate Fellowships program. Dr. Charbonnette was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. She earned her Doctor of Education and Master of Business Administration from WVU, a Master of Science in Secondary Mathematics from the University of New Haven, and a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, minor in Mathematics, from Howard University. Wow. Dr. W. Constinia Charbonnette, welcome to Leadership Rediscovered.
Thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate it.
Yes.
I guarantee you I'm not as impressive as that nice little bio there, but I appreciate it.
I think you are. I know you are. And I have to say you are the most educated guest that we have had on this show. And I am very curious to hear, so political science, mathematics, MBA, Doctor of Education, very curious to hear how this has all evolved. So please take us on your journey here.
The journey of education. So in short, I had a knack for and a love for knowledge and interdisciplinary education before it was in vogue. Back then, it just looked really crazy and stupid. Like, why is she doing this? But quite honestly, it was something that my mother and my family pushed heavily in our lives. My mother didn't graduate high school. She got her GED, dropped out of school when she was 14, but she always valued education and made sure that that was our way to best contribute and serve the world by knowing and doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I just look at everything that you've accomplished, even at WVU. I would just love to hear some perspective on the first time you were in a leadership role, you know, what that whole leadership journey has looked like for you, especially as it ties into this education.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, when we talk about leadership and leadership role, me personally, it is not so much about the role, but about the person and what that person does. So essentially, leadership is not some rented title or rented role, because that's what it is. It's rented, right?
Mm.
You don't take it with you.
I got to hear more about that.
And those are not my words. That's Deshonda Duckett, CEO of TIA words. I like to quote her when I talk about that. But it is about what you do with the influence and the role in which God has placed you in, and how you serve. And so it's a journey. And I say that, let me say that again for the folks in the back. It is a journey.
Yes.
It is not a destination. So for me, in terms of the rented title role, I would say the first leadership position I had was when I was 16 years old, back in South Central Los Angeles with the National Organization of Black County Officials, where I went around LA County and talked about the AIDS epidemic. And so I led a team of peer advocates, is what they called it, to go around and educate, because it was running rapid in the early 90s within my community. So that's where I really kind of stepped my toe and got my beak wet, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I made lots of mistakes. All the textbook things of authoritarian leadership, laissez-faire leadership, all those things, boy, I made them very, very early. And I'm just
very
now
young.
learning.
My goodness, you 16 when you started, your first leadership role?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's that it was about how, the positions that we were in and how we influenced.
Yes.
And so that's really where I would say that journey truly started for me. And more importantly for me, it was about the impact. The impact and the service that I gave to my community and folks, and really affected change. And that's most important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you have such a tremendous responsibility to influence and impact others in a leadership role. And so it sounds like you recognize that potential and also the responsibility that it is, and being mission driven and thinking about what that impact can be and how you can best serve others.
Absolutely. And for me, particularly as a woman of color, as a woman of color with a hidden disability, a couple of hidden disabilities, right? A woman of color who's first generation by definition. It is important that we understand, or that I have understand how I've been trained, is that we need to do more, be better, because so many folks depend on us and to continue to open that door of greatness and that legacy, so folks can come behind us who may not always have those opportunities. And I think that's what true leadership does. It props that door open, particularly for women. Yeah.
So true. And it's a way to honor those who have paved the way in the past.
Absolutely.
As well as to continue to break down barriers and open that door even wider for others in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if the door is not open, you kick it open.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Okay, I did a little digging.
I choose violence only for that.
Yeah, only for that.
Only
for that. Disclaimer, yes. I found some quotes and words that students and others have used to describe you.
Oh.
I did some digging here. So I'd like to read those to you. Tough but fair.
Oh.
Smart, kind, funny, and beautiful.
I paid for that one.
Poised and professional. And I second all of those, but I would love to hear, how would you describe your leadership style?
My leadership style is more transformational and servant leadership, right? And that is exactly how I live my life. And so, it really aligns with how I truly define leadership. And that would be, and this is from my mom, to be honest with you, it is about always leading with courage, leading with faith.
Love that. Yeah.
Leading with integrity, leading with conviction, and leading with God by your side. I am a believer, and I don't apologize for that.
No. Don't. I love that. Oh, that's beautiful. I took some notes on that one. I like that. We're going to revisit that. So we will get into it in a minute because I really do want to dive deeper into WLI, and I think especially right now it's very exciting with the 10-year anniversary. But I was looking at some very recent statistics that came out about women in leadership in particular, and I just kind of want to get your reaction to these. So I'm going to read a few for you, and then just want to hear your reaction to them. So this is from a very recent study this year. It's been reported that women represent 54.3% of the U.S. workforce as of December 2021, but only held 35% of senior leadership positions. 8.2% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women. Less than 1% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women of color. Women were awarded 60% of all U.S. graduate degrees in 2020. And in 2020, women who earned a master's degree had an average salary of $72,568 in the United States, while men who achieved the same level of education earned an average of $117,617. Women represent 5% of top earners who qualify as the 1%. And the list goes on and on and on. And I do think we are seeing this over and over, especially with the pandemic. A lot of women left the workforce, and so we've got that going on as well. And I think we hear these things as sound bites or even clickbait sometimes, and I just kind of want to hear your reaction. And again, this is just one measure of diversity in the workforce, and there's many others and other challenges that we're facing as well. But as you think about women and women in leadership, what are you seeing, in the work that you're doing, and how do we create more equity? How do we kick those doors down if we have to? How do we create opportunities? What are some of the solutions that we can put into practice related to this?
That's a great question. I will. I always leave when folks talk about statistics. I use the old adage: there are three types of lies: lies, and gosh darn lies. Right. But for this one, this is particularly true and hurtful, because we do have this great gap between those women who are qualified, who are brilliant, who deserve to be in leadership roles, but yet they're not. It's not a talent problem.
Right.
What it is access and opportunity issues. Oftentimes, folks talk about the leaky pipeline, right? Of how people, kind of slip through the cracks. What I like to think about, particularly within higher ed, and I can talk a little bit about what's going on out in different industries or sectors, is that historically, the marginalization and trivialization of women and their accomplishments have been front and center, right? From the types of jobs that we are pushed toward when we're younger, right? Where you have these young, brilliant women, and then we put them in the boxes, right? Oh, you can be a teacher, you can be whatever that gender specific role is. And then young girls at some point get to this confidence cliff. They get to all of these things, and this is not a family issue. It's more of a cultural issue. It is also, something that we have to address, right? As a society, because we lose out on the innovation. We lose out on the contributions of these brilliant minds because of their gender, right? And so what we do, like with WLI, is, some of those traditional launch pads that women may not have access to for whatever reason, is that we create that. It becomes this natural laboratory to mimic what happens in men's worlds as well, in leadership roles. So that's a lot of that's like networking.
Yes.
Right. And also, how are we creating our own narrative. How are we sharing our narrative? How are we sharing our narrative? How are we showing up, right? And also resisting or rejecting any of the negative noise that comes along with women in leadership positions, because I may be bossy, but for a man, he shows great leadership skills. And I'm not Darla and part of the men's haters club from Little Rascals here. I'm not that.
Yeah.
But what it is that this is fact. And while we have made lots of progress in this country when it comes to women, look at the stats, right? But it's upside down. I think you just read to me that 60% of the women who are graduating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, when you said it's not a talent problem or a capability issue, it's also not an education issue in that respect either.
Absolutely not. It is access and opportunity. And that is one of the cornerstones of WLI, and also ensuring that that they have access to the type of professional development that they may need, or help shoring up the skills, or even the networking, right? And where it's, it becomes, sometimes you never know where the magic happens, right?
Yes.
You and I met.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Just randomly. I mean, how many times have we seen each other?
Not that many, especially because of the pandemic.
Yeah. But what's interesting about that, it is how we engage with one another. And also we interact and network differently because it's not transactional. We tend to build more authentic relationships.
Yes.
And we also, so there, I'm not going to pigeonhole women, but those are some of the things. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's interesting because when you think about how you and I met many, many years ago, but in a different context. So you were in a different role. I was in a different role. We've stayed in touch. We've grown and we've evolved, but we've maintained a relationship such that when I texted you and said, I need to ask you a big favor, you just picked up the phone and called me. I mean, that's huge. I didn't even say what. I didn't say I'm going to video you on a podcast.
I'm highly terrified of, by the way.
But that's huge. And that's that relationship that kind of spanned time and role and everything.
Well, and that's also, I would say, an intentional building and connecting with good folks, right? You're good folks, right? You gave me a ride, didn't even know me, in the rain, right?
That's right.
I think that, we show up and support one another. It is very powerful, but also just keeping that connection. I mean, heck, you did the same for WLI. Picked up the phone. I saw something and I was like, hey, Laura, I want you to be a presenter for the Women's Leadership Initiative. And you were like, I don't know what it is, but okay. Right?
I'm in.
But again, we earned that from one another because we intentionally built that relationship.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, so dive a little deeper because we've talked a little bit about WLI, but give us some more information, especially it's exciting this year with the 10-year anniversary. What is the Women's Leadership Initiative
so
at
the
WVU?
The Women's Leadership, and again, 10-year anniversary, a huge milestone for us. But the Women's Leadership Initiative it empowers and engages women on campus to reach their full potential through a series of professional development, networking opportunities, coaching, as you know, because you're one of our coaches this year. And again, it creates this laboratory of enhancement, right? Because we're not coming empty, right? These women are coming, rock star women, and it's across the leadership spectrum. So you have from program coordinators, entry level, and junior colleagues, all the way up to vice president, and heck, the provost of our institution. She is one of our architects, one of the 4 architects, which is Michelle Wheatley, our former provost, our current provost, Marianne Reed, Lisa DeFranco, who is the director of the Leadership Initiative, and also the Harriet E. Lyon professor, as well as Melissa Latimer, who now serves as our associate provost. And they started this all those years ago. And hundreds of women, in fact, 430 women have now are part of this. And it's a membership nomination application-based leadership initiative.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, and I think it's really neat that it goes across all of the different areas of WVU, because I would imagine it could be easy to become very siloed within whatever, college or department or area that it's such a big organization that you could easily only be connected or networked with the people within your particular college. And so what I love about it is that it spans, it's all over across the board, right?
It is, and that's an evolution. It's a powerful evolution because initially, at the birth of the Women's Leadership Initiative, it was exclusively for senior women leaders, right? And part of that evolution is that we expanded it because we all bring something to the table and we learn from one another. And that's really, I think, the power of WLI. And also we have this expanded network. I mean, at this large research one institution, right? Sometimes when you're in a college, you are on an island.
Yes.
Sometimes we just interact with folks, it may be in our department or just in our college.
Right.
We have, now 13 colleges and schools. We just merged.
Goodness. Oh boy. Oh my.
Too. So sometimes you can, be working at the same institution for 20 years, as a large organization like Mylan, and never have the opportunity to connect with one another. And we miss that opportunity to learn from one another as well. So that I love that evolution of WLI, and it has greatly increased our reach, right? And also increased our learning from one another and brought some really innovative and fresh ideas. So pretty excited about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Plus, I think there's great mentorship opportunities
absolutely.
and sponsorship opportunities as you think about who all is a part of the
Absolutely.
membership.
And uncommon, right? So there's a wonderful, beautiful violinist in the College of Creative Arts. Her name is Michaela Myers. She's a rock star. If you guys don't know about her, follow her.
Okay.
She's assistant dean and a master violinist. And she recently, let me tell you how rock star she is, right? She will go, to hear her make the strings cry, it takes your breath away. I get goosebumps thinking about her last performance. But also, she just opened up for the Eagles and did and performed with the Eagles.
Oh my goodness.
It was insane, right?
Wow.
Rock star.
Yeah.
And all the things that she's taught me, along with, again, I would have never connected with her outside of WLI.
Yeah, because you really wouldn't have had a reason to, based on what you do, what she
absolutely.
does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What's ahead for the next 10 years and beyond with WLI?
I will tell you, we recently initiated the Women's Leadership Foundation Fund, which we're very proud of. So in order to do more, we need more. And while we're very grateful for the funding that we received from the Provost Office, the Benedum Foundation, to be exact, we need more and to serve more. And so to bring more women in, to do more types of different coaching, outreach, scholarship research. As we know, funds are drying up from the state and from the federal government. We want to make sure that this keeps going. So that's really something that we've really worked very hard on, the steering committee and myself and the organization. And so the next part for WLI is to start a formal mentoring program for, and this then expands it in a very unique way where we can take more senior leaders and partner them with more junior colleagues, because sometimes you shouldn't have to make mistakes if the answers are there.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that making those uncommon connections to make the magic happen. Yeah. And then additional outreach and research. And so, we have from our former directors, Pressionita Meyer, as well as Lisa DeFranco, Allison Swan-Dagan, they started a framework for studying WLI so that it can be replicated elsewhere, particularly institutions like WVU, R1, land grant institution that may not have this, and this is based on the Harvard University Women's Leadership Forum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Very good.
but again, it has evolved with us. So really researching it and getting that out, and hopefully sharing it with other similar institutions.
Oh, that's fantastic. bring some good press for the Mountain State here.
You know what? Additional good press.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, very good. All right. So switching gears a little bit, as you think about your leadership journey, what experience or person would you say has most shaped your leadership style or had the most impact on you as a leader?
I know it's a bit cliche, but my mother. And I don't think that I fully understood how she shaped it. I recently lost my mom, as you know, a couple of years back, and March 20th, a couple of years back to be exact. And what I saw from her, what I learned from her, and then going back through, different things is how she showed grit and resilience, how she worked tirelessly, and I'm going to quote Dr. Patrice Harris, one of our alums, who I first heard it when I watched her inauguration for the American Medical Association, and I also heard Vice President Kamala Harris say it, but eat no for breakfast, right? And she did that on a daily basis, right? So it's now I look at my mother and the lessons that she taught me and how I saw her in action. Even though I hated it back then.
Right.
No. Can I tell you a quick story?
Please. Yes.
My mother, Lucille.
I love it.
Now again, I grew up in Los Angeles. So my mom, it was, again, during the time of transition within my community in the early 90s, similar to the transitions we're seeing here in West Virginia with the opioid epidemic. In Los Angeles, it was a crack epidemic. So within 6 months, you saw a complete transformation, not in a good way, of a neighborhood. Folks you grew up with weren't the same. Same way that we see here.
But that's very fast and very
drastic. It's very fast here, and again, it touches everyone. But my mother, in short, it was always about education. She made sure that I always had something to do because not on her watch was her thing. And so my mom, it was interesting. She's all about service. All about service. And so whenever I went to go hang out, because I wanted to be cool.
Oh, yeah.
No. And so that was not, cool was not
an option.
Not for her.
No.
And so not cool back then. And so whenever I said, I want to go hang out with such and such. It's like, you have some time? Okay, come on, let's go pick up trash. I'm not kidding. Do you know the teasing, right?
Yeah.
But I say that because the foresight there is no matter what, we can do something, right? There is something to be done. There is a different type of investment. And she taught me about, particularly as a leader, the most powerful investment that you can give anyone is your time, right? Is your time. And so her time and my leadership and her grooming me, it was, you know what? If you don't have much to offer, okay, well, yes, you do. Let's go pick up trash, right? And so, and the other parts with my mother in terms of leadership and really the women of my family, my aunts, is ensuring that whatever we do, that we are looking to make it better. Period, in the discussion.
Yes.
Whatever you do, I don't care what it is. And so, my greatest influence, my mother and my aunts, my Dr. Quinella Miller and my Aunt Pat and my Aunt Valerie and my Aunt Irene. Yeah.
I love that you said that because I do a training where I ask people to identify successful leaders, and a lot of times, I'll hear the same names over and over again: Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, and I'm like, okay. And then someone will eventually say, my mom, my daughter, my sister. And I love that because think about what a gift she gave you in terms of service to others, thinking about how you use your time.
Yeah.
she probably
Even though I'm
didn't.
not real good at
Well, I was gonna say she probably didn't take a lot of time for herself, so maybe that was one thing that
No,
you
she
can evolve from that.
She was
part
in my
of
business
it.
too much.
That's what she did with her extra time.
Stayed in my
Let's
business.
pick up track,
Yeah.
and I'll talk to you about what you got going on.
Eavesdrop on the phone. No.
But it's so true, and a lot of times that's not what comes to mind right off the bat when you ask someone about a successful leader. They think about a big CEO or a big entrepreneur, someone who came out with a big product, and they think about money and who makes the most money. And it's not about that. And she taught you amazing lessons about leadership.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I do have, we list off that I was talking outside with Jim, and we're talking about different leaders that influence me, and I lead with that because it was right there. I could touch it, right? I appreciate it more now, right, with her passing, but I also realized that how very fortunate I was. Very fortunate to have a mother and a family like that on both sides, on my father's side and my mother's side. And so, and also being a woman of color, a woman of color with hidden disabilities, a woman of color who's first generation, a woman of color who often, particularly now, operates in places where I'm the only person who looks like me, thinks like me, right? Let alone gender. Sometimes, as you know, we've talked about this in the past, we'll walk into rooms, we're the only women, the only woman there, or one of few.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And for me,
and we're not wallflowers either.
That's
an extra, piece sometimes. It's more noticeable for us.
You kind of come in like, oh, well, hello, how are you all doing? But it was comforting to have someone and women that who influenced me, where it wasn't a TV character. So back in my day, it was the Claire Huxtable.
Oh yeah,
right. And so, and I'm very serious, in certain areas of my community. That was, it was a fictional character for me.
But she was a doctor, and
she was Claire Huxtable, yes, and they have this affluent family, very connected to the culture. My mother, while she wasn't a doctor, and this I often say this as well, is that as I said, my mother dropped out of school, but she dropped out of school to help the family, and to help. She was the co-parent. That come from a large family. My grandmother, bless her heart, had 8 kids, which was a reason why I have no children.
You've already raised enough on your own.
And but what she did do was she dropped out of school, and she paid for 3 of my aunts to go through school.
Oh wow!
Paid for their undergraduate degree. Right. While she didn't have the education, she made sure that they did. Right. And again, is making it better. And so I take that with me. But also, I would say some of my current influences. If I fangirl, let me do this again. I fangirl.
Yes.
Camera. I fangirl. Over the.
This is very serious.
For the people in the back.
Yes.
The Shonda Duckett, the first African American woman CEO of TIAA.
Huge.
Huge. Yeah, but she's a rock star. She's a rock star, and grounded and approachable, and really doing some very innovative things. Men as well. Kenneth Chenault. I fangirl over Kenneth Chenault as well. And of course, Auntie Michelle.
Oh yeah.
Obama. Genevieve Bell is someone I look to. From the IT world. She's a rock star. And if you all don't know Genevieve Bell,
yeah, I don't know Genevieve Bell.
Feral Data on Twitter. It'll change your life. Thank me later when you see me. So yeah. So a number of folks influenced me, and of course I have this local bunch. You influence me,
Mm-mm.
right? Dr. Linda Alexander in the School of Public Health influences me. My mentors, who I look to influence and help shape me. I mean, heck, I have a board of directors who influence me, my personal board of directors, right? My mentor
Which is very
group.
important.
Absolutely.
Everyone should have a personal board of directors.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. I know I can go on and on. So
No,
we'll stop it.
This is good.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was enjoying it. As we think about, I want to talk a little bit about public health. And I mean, you identified very early on that was an important part of your upbringing, your focus.
Absolutely.
And as we tie your role that you're in today, where we sit in West Virginia and talk about leadership, I mean, what opportunities do you see as it relates to leadership in public health and even in this area within West Virginia?
I will tell you, the School of Public Health, we're celebrating our upcoming our 10-year anniversary of school, the newest school.
Wow.
At
Everything's
WVU.
10 years this year.
I know,
This is great.
Like, well,
Everything
I lucked
happened
up.
10 years ago.
It has
apparently.
nothing to do with me, but hey, I jumped. I was, God blessed me to be part of something very special.
That's amazing.
But what we have in the School of Public Health is, truly live our mission and our values, and we are educating the next generation of the workforce in a very unique and innovative way. So, for instance, we have a few new programs within the School of Public Health, and it's all about addressing the immediate and future needs. So, our dean, Dr. Jeff Coben, amazing man, as well as Dr. Linda Alexander, who recently left. It's bittersweet. She's now the, let me say this right, the Chief Academic Officer of the ASPPH, which is it's overall academic institutions of public health nationwide. Oh, wow. Oh, she's rocking it out.
Wow.
And we also have Dr. Eric Carlton, who has now earned and shifted to that spot, and Dr. Sarah Woodrum, whom we love and know. That part of the leadership where they are seasoned professionals, they know the field, and then they're helping to forecast how we can not only shore up the skills of the students, of folks here within our state, but also our region. So when we think about, the new degrees, we have the Master's of Population Health, new 1-year online degree. We also have innovative 2-year program, both online and face-to-face, the Masters of Health Administration. And rocking, actually, this year is the first year that they're graduating. We're graduating our first cohort, which, pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Here, but and addressing the meeting needs. We have when I tell you, we have international rock star researchers within the School of Public Health. When I say gems, right? You go out. People say, "Hey, do you know such and such? Can you introduce me?" I'm like,
celebrity
Gordon Smith. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm like, yeah, he's a rock star. Alfgar Christensen, yeah, is a rock star. Keith Zulik, yeah, rock star. But I'm thinking, you just don't realize how powerful and the things that they're doing, not only nationally, and they're here. So we're very fortunate in that way. Yeah. You saw that plug. I tried to, I have to. I mean, again, I believe in it.
Yes,
When I tell
do too.
I believe in WVU. I believe in the programs and the School of Public Health. I promise you, it's something special.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is.
It's exciting to see.
Yeah.
And there's going to be such an impact for all these individuals that you just talked about and all the work that they're doing.
Yeah, and there are tons more I didn't, but because I know we're running out of time. I'm looking at the time over there.
Keeps us on track. All right, we'll get back on track here. But I as you think about all the lessons that you've learned in leadership, any do-over moments, redo moments that you wish you could go back and change or approach differently?
Sweet baby Jesus. I used to believe in do-overs until I realized that they were great lessons. And, while I wish they would have had different outcomes, I've learned to hold and value those hard times and the things I wish I would have done differently very close to my heart, because they have helped shape and crystallize who I am today and will continue to help me grow. But there are lots of things. One thing I joke when I speak with young folk about, one thing I need you to do that I didn't learn. I when I get nervous, I'm a real talker. And so I say, look, you can't talk your way out of anything. We have to listen even more, particularly when it's new. So I say, shh for success, baby. Shh for success.
Oh, I love that. I'm stealing that. Can I steal it?
It's free.
I love
You know what?
that.
I'll tax you later.
Yeah.
For
success.
Shh for success, baby.
Yeah. That's so
Do
true.
it with a wink, though. Do it again.
Yeah.
Shh for success.
I need to video you doing it, and then because you do it better than I do, but we'll get there. But that's so huge, because a lot of the leadership work that I do emphasizes active listening and how hard it is to listen. And I mean, I'm sure you picked up on, and you know me well enough to know that I like to talk, so it is hard for me. I used to actually sit on my hands when I would be in team meetings, because I remember learning the lesson of, don't answer the problem. Let your team talk and let them, sort out different ideas and problems. But I so wanted to be that person to be like, let me tell you what you should do, and and now let's go do it, quick.
It's interesting. And I'm gonna hope I'm Megyn Kelly. Do you remember from Fox News?
Yeah.
I saw an interview with her once, and it stuck with me. She said, one of the greatest lessons I learned is that you can't listen and come up with a response at the same time. And I thought that was so powerful. It just it hit me, right? And that's how my mind worked. My mind, the ADD in me, it just oh yeah, I got it. Okay, yeah, let me, because I am a natural problem solver. That's my bailiwick, right? And so I'm thinking, oh, I heard this key word, and then you miss out on some of the things.
You do.
And so that's very powerful. So I the do-overs is listen more for success. And then the redo moment's over. Don't take it personal.
Oh.
Don't take it personal.
Preach.
I still struggle with that. Right? Whatever it is, can't take it personal. I want to go. Okay, sidebar.
Yeah.
I just got turned on to this show called Ted Lasso. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh. Everyone keeps telling me, they're like, Laura, you have to watch Ted Lasso, because the coaching piece of it, they're like, you'll love it. And I haven't watched it yet. I've downloaded it, but not watched it.
Please.
Okay.
I will tell you.
Another
I binge watched
Ted Lasso.
The first season. I so wish it was a woman. I wish her name was, Theodora Lasso. Because it's interesting, but he has this thing, and one it says, have the memory of a goldfish. And I looked it up. It's actually a fact. The memory of a goldfish is like 10 seconds.
Oh, my goodness.
Right, for the real hard things, where you want to remember the lessons. But in terms of the emotion attached to it, it is very important to, to kind of keep it moving.
Yes.
And so, and shout out to my partner, my husband. He brought me a T-shirt one day. I wasn't feeling my best, and he ordered Amazon. Boy, Amazon is horrible.
Yeah.
You find anything
on
there. I know it didn't pass trademark licensing, but anyway, I love it and I wear it. But it does say, today I'm having the memory of a goldfish. So yeah,
that's perfect. Yeah. But what a lesson! Yes. And I was just talking to someone earlier this morning about that, where the first few years of my career, anytime if my boss seemed quiet or wasn't engaging, I just was like, oh, I did something wrong. Oh, she's mad at me. Oh, it's my fault. And I'm a horrible person, or I'm not working hard enough. I'm not doing a good enough job. I mean, you internalize so much, and it's about building that confidence, right? Of, knowing who you are, knowing whose you are, and just being
Say
able
it again
to,
for the people in the back.
yeah, knowing who you are and knowing whose you are.
There you go.
Yes. Allows you to walk in and, have a little bit more of that ability to not just take all of that in and carry it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we talk about that within WLI as well, and a lot of women struggle with that, right? And we'd be surprised, again, those rented titles, folks think because they have this high rented title, they don't struggle. I have arrived, right? They struggle with it as well, right? And again, this is not by accident. Again, if we are operating, going back to those statistics that you mentioned earlier, when you are one of the few, right, and sometimes when you are one of the few, you represent everybody.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I'm like, no. If I'm talking anything about anything diverse, I always say I don't speak for all Black folk. I don't speak for all Black women. No. I am speaking for me and my experiences and my family culture.
Everybody's had different experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, understanding that we all have that struggle, and particularly as women, and when we care and we do and we invest, and so many things, all these artificial barriers are in front of you. It's kind of like we may have some mental gymnastics going on, like what happened? What did I do? I have one of our coaches, additional coach, Deb Degner, who I love. She's been with WLI for almost for 7 years now. But Deb, she had part of her it's Deb Degner with the Leadership Bridge. She says, stop MSUing. I'm not going to say the middle word, but making, I'm gonna say stuff up,
making
right,
stuff up
in your head, because so then what happens is that while we're internalizing that, they could be just thinking about, I don't know, bats or popcorn or their feet hurt, right? Has nothing to do with you.
We've created this whole story
narrative
in our mind that we are then reacting to.
Absolutely, and then we're gonna fix it too, because we're leaders and we're ambitious, and then you're like, oh wait, it had nothing to do, and again, it breaks us down. It wears out our confidence, and it paralyzes us from reaching our full potential. And that I think that's something that a lot of women face, no matter what their rented title is.
But that concept, I mean, you just kind of snuck it in there, but artificial barriers. Ooh.
You like that?
I like that, because I think that happens more than people acknowledge. Everyone, I think, in their own way, create artificial barriers for themselves, but don't realize that they are the ones doing it to themselves. We're all sometimes our own worst enemy. If we could get out of our own way, then, we'd a lot of times have a lot more success than trying to say, well, this person's blocking me or this person's in my way. Well, what about this person?
Right. And it is. And we have enough people pulling and may want to tug us down without us doing it to ourselves. But I think in another way, this is where our tribe comes in, right? Our tribe of support, our tribe of reality. Those folks who lift us up and check us at the same time.
Yes, because you need that too.
I love Lovey.
I love Lovey too.
I'm reading Good Trouble right now. So good.
Yes.
If you love Lovey, you're gonna love Tashonda Duckett.
Okay, I promise.
So I think they're like really good friends for some reason, but she talks about, she was on a podcast some time ago, but she with Gwendolyn Doyle, who I love her. And so, but I think the podcast called "We Do Hard Things." Or
we can do hard things. Yes.
And so,
Gwendolyn Doyle, very good.
And so, but she talked about being very mindful of our tribe and who we surround ourselves with, and part of that role is that we are responsible for one another once we invite them into that tribe, particularly as women. And also using them as a charging station. And I love that. When she said that, I was just like, just like you charge your phone, it's like the charging thing. And so when we start MSUing, as Deb Degner says, this is where we go to our charging station. And then, just the kind of correct, like, hey, snap back into place, right? Your crown queen, that's crooked. Let me go ahead and straighten it up back up, and then get out into the world and keep it moving. nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check yourself before you wreck yourself.
You know, DOS effects reference there. Yeah, so funny. I love you. All right, sorry. Go
All
ahead.
right, we'll do one more very important question
Okay.
here, and then I'll do the lightning
Did
round.
I take everything? You have so many questions. I don't think we got through everything.
No, actually, we did because
we did not.
Yeah,
did we?
Yeah, we
Looking
did.
at your beautiful handwriting.
Oh, thank
there.
you.
All right,
Yeah, we did. No, this was good. But I do want to hear your advice for other leaders, especially women leaders, but all leaders in general.
My advice is to ensure that we are taking control and writing our narrative, particularly when it comes to leadership, that we find the ability and the courage to trust ourselves. I always talk about doing that ganglion check. We can seek advice, but at the end of the day, it starts and stops with us and our Creator. And also, I would say, no matter what, show yourself grace. This is a great big messy experiment of leadership.
Yes.
I mean, my goodness. And if you don't fail, or if you don't get crushed, you're not doing it right.
No, you're not putting yourself out there.
You're not taking risks. You're not being innovative. Do it, right? And it's not gonna be pretty. It's gonna be messy. Your feelings are gonna get hurt. Your toes gonna get stepped on. And you know what? You're gonna feel like crap.
Yeah.
Eat a box of Oreos and call it a day, or whatever. Gluten-free Ezekiel bread, whatever does that for you. But I think that's important. And showing up, showing up. Whatever that is for you, show up and keep showing up. And again, as you show up, re-energize and show yourself grace. I don't believe in work-life balance. I believe in when we show up, sometimes we're going to have to give more energy for other things. And so when we do that, make sure we recharge. And sometimes you have to go to your charging station, that family, that tribe.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you're right, because if you're not bringing your whole self, showing up is bringing your whole self.
You know what it is. I didn't think about authenticity, and that's an interesting thing, particularly for women, and for me as a woman of color who comes from a very different background than a lot of folks I interact with on a daily basis. But again, being that's an important thing, is being authentic and showing up, and then making sure that you are directing your own path. Don't let other folks tell your story. Don't let other control your narrative.
That is huge, because I think you're right. In many cases, many times, we allow other people to write our narrative, share our narrative for us, instead of us taking control of that. Right. And it's our story.
It's our story.
But it's our responsibility to share it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
Oh, very good. I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's do, can we do the lightning round?
Oh my gosh, I was hoping you wouldn't do that.
These are so fun, though.
But are they really?
Yes.
I mean, because I'm going to mess it up.
No. There's no mess up. It's a game.
I'm competitive.
I
want it done 16. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll see how many. Okay. Yeah, we'll see how many you can get through.
Okay, you ready?
1 minute.
I'm centering.
Clear your thoughts. Okay.
60 seconds. Are you really doing a timer?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yes, because I
heard a timer. I think it was with Beth.
Yes.
Her timer went out.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's timer goes out.
Oh,
does
it?
I have
Okay,
more questions than you can likely. There's 16 questions. I mean, that's impressive.
Let's see.
If you can
Let's see.
Well,
okay, wait. Before we do that.
Yeah.
Tell me the number to beat. Isn't that bad?
No. I think our past guests have only gotten up to like number 6 or 7. So
9 is the standard.
This is
you
like
ready?
Family Feud.
You got it?
You get the lightning round.
Oh my
All right,
gosh.
ready?
Okay, yep.
Your mark, get set, go.
Okay.
What season best fits your personality?
Spring.
Okay, a lot of spring. What is your most used emoji in text?
Palm to face.
Oh, that's a good one. What book, song, movie, or podcast has had the greatest impact on your life?
Okay, so you used that one before. I have 2. Okay. I'm sorry. There we go. All right, so here we go. It is a gospel song, Marvin Sapp, Never Would Have Made It.
Never would have
And
known.
also, Maya Angelou's poem, Our Grandmothers, particularly the line is, I come before you as one, but stand with 10,000 and my ancestors. I love it. Isn't that right?
Ooh, that's good.
There we
Okay.
go.
What's something about you that surprises people when they first hear it?
I'm an introvert, certifiable.
Fill in the blank. I spend too much money on
My God babies.
Oh. What celebrity would you most want to play you in a movie?
Janet Jackson.
Okay. If you wrote a book, what would the title be?
That was a minute?
You can finish it. Yeah, you can finish that one, though. If you wrote a book, what would the title be?
I am my ancestors' wildest dream.
Oh, that is awesome.
How many
okay,
did
I'm
I
glad we
get?
got through. You got through 7. I think you did.
I really didn't get through 7. I did not, because
you
6.
made it farther than Bruce did.
No, but I got
ended
extra
before
seconds.
that
That's like
one.
cheating. I'm not going to claim it. It's okay.
All right.
I'm
Here's
like,
the deal.
wah, wah, wah.
Here's the deal.
What?
Will you come back? Will you
For
be a guest
you?
again?
For
And
you?
then we can do the lightning round again?
You know what? Of course I will.
It's all
Of course I
about,
will.
she just wants to come back to do the lightning round.
I want to come back and just see my lovely Laura.
I love
I
you.
really
You're the
do.
best.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing all
Thank
of
you.
your wonderful
And
wisdom
thank you for inviting me.
grace. Absolutely. You're
Thank
the
you
best.
for your service. Thank you for your coaching. And also, thank you for what you're doing right now. What you're doing is you are serving as a model, not only for our peers, for women, but you're also doing it for the women who are looking up to you. You walk the path, right? You are approachable.
Thank you.
You are a God-fearing woman. I hope that was okay. I hope that's okay. Edit it out, guys, if it's not
No,
right.
it's true.
And you lead with heart and compassion, and you are wicked smart, right?
Thank you.
And you're pretty fashionable. I like your makeup. No, just kidding. I love your style.
Thank you.
All of those things. Package.
Thank you.
Bottle it for $99.95 an ounce, and let's go ahead and make some money.
I love it. We're gonna go kick down doors together.
You know what? We're gonna kick down doors and prop them open, particularly for women and men.
Yes.
Because we need them as we move forward. Okay.
We need everyone to show up.
We do.
Everyone to
Show up.
Okay. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate
guys.
you. All right. That's all the time we have today on Leadership Rediscovered. Shine bright, everyone.